I'm Rabbi Shimon. I'm 83 years old, and I'm about to reveal something that will shock you about prayer, about intention, about why your Hebrew prayers might be trapped inside your body instead of ascending to heaven. A woman walked into my study last month. Devout, prays every morning, recites psalms. She says, "Rabbi, I feel like my prayers hit the ceiling and fall back down, like God doesn't hear me." I ask her to recite the first word of the Shema. She says it, and I hear the problem immediately, the Aleph. She's pronouncing it wrong, and because Aleph is silent, most people don't realize they're doing it incorrectly. But that silent letter carries your intention. When you pronounce it wrong, even silently, your prayer stays locked in your throat. Before I teach you the correct pronunciation, hit the like button if you're ready to unlock your prayers. Then comment these 3 words: "My prayers ascend." When you write that, you're declaring in the spiritual realm that you will no longer be blocked. Subscribe to this channel because we're revealing ancient secrets that unlock what religion has made complicated. Turn on notifications. Now let me tell you what's really happening when Aleph is mispronounced. You think pronunciation doesn't matter. That's the mistake. You think God understands what you mean regardless of how you say it. And yes, God knows your heart. But Hebrew isn't just language, it's vibrational code. Each letter carries frequency. When you mispronounce a letter, especially Aleph, which begins the alphabet and represents divine unity, you create interference, static. Your intention gets scrambled. This isn't about being perfect. This is about alignment. In Kabbalah, we learn that Aleph is the letter of Aleph, Master, Teacher, the Infinite One. Aleph represents the breath of God. It's silent because God's essence is beyond sound. But when you speak Aleph, even silently, you're meant to breathe that divine breath, to inhale intention, to exhale prayer. When you do it wrong, you're breathing shallowly. Your prayer never gets the oxygen it needs to rise. The problem is physical too. You wake up and pray by rote, going through the motions, words without breath, words without intention. That tightness in your chest when you pray, that's trapped energy, blocked Aleph. Your soul knows the prayer isn't ascending, and your body holds the frustration. And it affects everything. Your relationship with God feels distant. Your prayers feel mechanical. You keep praying, but nothing changes. That emptiness after you say Amen, like you went through the ritual but nothing connected, that's mispronounced Aleph stealing your spiritual breath. The real battle is in the invisible realm. There's a principle called dibber, speech as creation. When you speak Hebrew correctly, you create. When you mispronounce it, you create distortion. Until you fix the foundation, Aleph, the first letter, every word you build on top of it is unstable. You've tried everything, haven't you? You've prayed longer. You've prayed louder. You've added more psalms. You've gone to services. You've lit candles. You've given charity. You've studied texts. And yet the connection doesn't deepen. The breakthrough doesn't come. The prayers feel like they bounce back. It's not because God isn't listening. It's because the signal is distorted at the source. Late at night, when everyone else is asleep, you've wondered, why do other people seem to connect in prayer while I feel nothing? Is something wrong with my Hebrew? Am I doing this all wrong? Will I ever experience what I read about in the texts? Is it too late to fix years of mispronunciation? But what you don't know is that Aleph can be corrected in one day. And when you correct it, every prayer you've ever prayed that got stuck suddenly has a clear channel. Let me take you back 3,000 years to Mount Sinai. Moses is receiving the Torah, not just the words, the sounds, the letters, the pronunciation. And the first letter God teaches him is Aleph, because Aleph is the beginning, the foundation, the breath. In Exodus 3, when Moses encounters God at the burning bush, God says, Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, I am that I am. Both words begin with Aleph. This is God teaching Moses. Before you can speak my name, you must breathe me. Before you can know me, you must pronounce the silence correctly. Most people think this story is about God's name. They miss the deeper principle. God is teaching Moses, and through Moses, all of us, that Hebrew pronunciation isn't decoration. It's transmission technology. Each letter is a frequency. When you pronounce it correctly, you tune to the divine channel. When you pronounce it wrong, you create static. The word for truth in Hebrew is emet, aleph, mem, tav. It begins with Aleph. Truth begins with breath, with silence, with God's presence. When you mispronounce Aleph, you can't access truth. You can recite true words, but they won't penetrate. They won't transform. They stay external. For 3 days you will practice pronouncing Aleph correctly, not just in words, in silence, in breath. You will feel the shift. Day 1, your throat opens. Day 2, your prayers feel lighter. Day 3, something you've been praying for starts manifesting because the channel is finally clear. This isn't isolated. Let me show you the pattern. When Abraham was called by God in Genesis 12, God changed his name from Abram to Abraham. What changed? One letter. Aleph was added in the middle. Abram means exalted father. Abraham means father of multitudes. The Aleph, pronounced as breath, as divine presence, transformed his identity and his destiny, from barren to father of nations, from one man to multitude, all because Aleph entered his name. When Moses built the tabernacle, God gave him exact measurements, exact colors, exact materials. Why? Because precision matters in the spiritual realm. Approximation doesn't work. Close enough creates distortion. The same principle applies to pronunciation. God didn't give Hebrew letters randomly. Each one is precise, sacred. Aleph is the first because it teaches, start with breath, with silence, with divine presence, or nothing you build will stand. When the high priest entered the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur, he spoke the unpronounceable name of God. But before he could speak it, he had to breathe correctly. Aleph correctly, because that name began with divine breath. One wrong pronunciation could mean death. Not because God is petty, because spiritual frequency requires precision. Do you see the pattern? Correct pronunciation creates access. Access creates transformation. Transformation creates manifestation. 3 months ago, a man named Aaron called me. 71 years old, been praying in Hebrew his whole life. Never felt breakthrough. He said, "Rabbi, I do everything right. Why do I feel disconnected?" I asked him to recite the Shema. I heard it immediately. His Aleph was glottal, forced. He was pushing instead of breathing. I taught him the correct silent breath of Aleph. Day 1, he practiced just breathing Aleph for 5 minutes. No words, just the silent letter. He said it felt strange, like breathing underwater, but he kept going. Day 2, he recited the Shema with correct Aleph pronunciation. He called me crying. He said, "Rabbi, for the first time in 71 years, I felt the prayer leave my body." Day 3, he received news that a financial burden he'd been carrying for 15 years was suddenly resolved. Unexpected inheritance from a distant relative he didn't know existed. Some would call that coincidence, but Aaron knew better. Why did the inheritance news come on day 3 of correct pronunciation? Because his prayers finally ascended, and heaven responded. A young mother named Sarah came to me 6 months ago. She'd been praying for her daughter's healing for 2 years. Medical bills piling up, no improvement. She was desperate. I taught her Aleph pronunciation. She was skeptical, thought it was too simple, but she committed. 3 days, just correcting Aleph in her prayers. Day 1, she practiced breathing Aleph alone. Day 2, she recited healing psalms with correct Aleph. Day 3, her daughter's doctor called with unexpected news. A treatment they thought wouldn't work suddenly showed results. Within 2 months, her daughter was in remission. Doctors called it miraculous. Sarah called it corrected frequency. Here's exactly what you do. This is sacred linguistics. This is vibrational alignment. Find a quiet space, no distractions, morning for 3 days. You need awareness of your breath and your throat. Step 1. Place your hand on your throat. Close your mouth. Breathe gently through your nose. That's Aleph. Silent. Breath. Divine presence. Not a sound. A breath carrying intention. This is the foundation of every Hebrew prayer. Practice this for 2 minutes, just breathing Aleph. Not words, just the silent letter. Step 2. Now add awareness. As you breathe Aleph, think, I am receiving divine breath. Inhale Aleph. Exhale intention. This isn't just pronunciation practice. This is spiritual recalibration. Your body is learning that Aleph is the channel, not an obstacle. Step 3. Tomorrow morning, day 2, recite the Shema Yisrael with correct Aleph pronunciation. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Feel the Aleph at the beginning of Adonai. Silent breath, divine presence. Don't rush it. Let the Aleph carry your intention upward before you speak the next letters. Warning 1. Don't force Aleph. It's not a sound you make. It's a breath you release. If you feel strain in your throat, you're doing it wrong. Aleph should feel like relief, like finally exhaling after holding your breath too long. Warning 2. Don't skip day 1. The isolated practice of Aleph without words is essential. It retrains your spiritual breath. If you go straight to prayers without this foundation, you'll fall back into old patterns. Warning 3. After 3 days, continue practicing. But the breakthrough, the moment your prayers start ascending clearly, happens within 3 days of correct Aleph pronunciation. What to expect? Day 1, you'll feel strange. Breathing a letter feels unnatural to Western minds. Your logical brain will resist. That resistance means you're rewiring. Push through. Day 2, when you pray with correct Aleph, you'll notice something. The words feel lighter, less effort, like they're being pulled upward instead of pushed out. That's alignment. Day 3, watch for external confirmation. A call, a message, a resolution. Something that shows your prayers are finally being heard clearly. Here's what we covered. Aleph is the first Hebrew letter and represents divine breath. When you mispronounce it, even silently, your prayers get trapped. Correct Aleph pronunciation in 3 days creates a clear channel between your mouth and heaven. This isn't superstition. This is spiritual linguistics. This is how Hebrew was designed to work. You need to start tomorrow morning, not next week, tomorrow. Because every day you pray with mispronounced Aleph is another day your intentions stay trapped in your body. Your window is now. You have everything you need. Your breath. 3 mornings. Intention. Nothing stands between you and clear prayer except your willingness to breathe correctly. The only question, will you practice Aleph for 3 days? Will you breathe divine presence intentionally? Will you let your prayers finally ascend? If yes, type "My prayers ascend" in the comments. Share this with someone whose prayers feel stuck. Subscribe. We're unlocking more Hebrew secrets that religion complicated. May your breath carry divine presence. May your words ascend on wings of correct pronunciation. May every prayer you speak reach the throne without interference. May Aleph open what has been closed. Your soul is the blueprint. Your life is the construction. Shalom, my friend.